Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel and my gun cleaning station. Today I'm going to go over the top 5 weapon systems that I think would be ideal in a prepper slash SHTF situation. I'm not going to focus too much on brand name, just more of the system or type of weapon along with the caliber that it shoots. So for number 5, let's get started. So for number 5, we have a bolt action or long distance rifle. This rifle is a Mossberg Patriot. I'm not going to get into the whole brand name thing because there's a lot of manufacturers that make really good long distance rifles. This is just what I have today. This rifle shoots a .308 round. It's a really good rifle, but the one thing about a rifle setup like this is it's only good at one thing, and that's long distance shooting. So one of the benefits to a rifle like this is you're going to be able to hunt with it. You can hit targets pretty far away, keep yourself safe at a long distance, but because it's so good at the long distance stuff, it kind of loses the versatility of some of the other rifles. For example, you're not going to be able to fire off multiple rounds in quick succession due to it being a bolt action rifle. It has a larger caliber, so it's going to be a little bit harder for a newer shooter to handle a weapon like this. I'm not saying that a new shooter can't shoot something like this, but the larger round is a little more intimidating. You're typically going to want to use a bipod or a rest for a rifle of this caliber just because of the recoil. And again, like I said, the whole thing of this rifle is it's good at one thing, and that's long distance. So even though I would love to put this rifle up a little bit higher because I feel like it's something that's very accurate and it's something that I feel would be very useful in a grid down or, SHTF prepper situation or just for daily life, I'm going to put it a little bit lower on the list just because it's not as versatile as some of the other weapons that you'll see in this top 5 list. Alrighty, so now at number 4, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I'm going to explain why I believe the AR platform is at number 4 and it can't be in the top 3. So first of all, I want to say I think the AR is one of the best platforms on the market right now. It's very versatile. It's a good rifle overall. You can get it in a couple different barrel lengths depending on how you have it set up as far as a stock or a pistol brace. I'm not going to get into all that. But I do think it's a great rifle. It's very accurate out to at least 300 yards if you have a scope on it. You can fire off rounds in quick succession. It fires the 5.56 or 223, which is a great round. You can see the size difference between a .308 and a 223/5.56. So it's not as crazy to fire. A lot of people that are newer shooters can handle an AR-15 pretty easily. So I'm sure you're probably asking, why is it at number 4? So the biggest problem with an AR-15 is it attracts attention. And I mean more so than a shotgun or even a bolt-action rifle, just because of its whole piece that it was, people see it as a military rifle. And what I mean by this is if you are walking down the street with an AR-15 in a survival situation, it attracts attention. People see this and they're afraid of it. And part of the problem with that is a lot of times in a survival situation, you don't want to stand out. You kind of want to blend in with everything else that's going on. And I understand that these are pretty prevalent in the United States and people see them a lot, but people that aren't into guns are afraid of this. So when they see this, it attracts attention, which isn't always a good thing. So even though I think this is one of the best platforms that you can purchase, and I think it's really good at everything, it has a really good round, like I said, between the .308 and the 223 as far as it being a rifle that is very controllable and easy to fire. I think the fact that it scares a lot of people and would draw so much attention to you, which you don't always want in one of those situations, I think I have to leave it at number 4. All right, coming in at number 3, I have the .22 rifle. And there's a bunch of reasons why I think the .22 has such an important place on a prepper's list. One being the round that it shoots, the .22. You can see the size difference between a .223 and a .22, and you can see that the round itself is pretty similar in size, but the amount of gunpowder that is going to push that round forward is a lot less. And why is this important? So first of all, these rounds are incredibly cheap to buy. You can get them for like 9 cents a round, where a 223, you're going to pay upwards of 50 cents a round, depending on the time of the year and whatever is going on in the world. And then even more for a 308 round. So the biggest thing with a 22 is, like I said, it's super cheap. You can buy the ammo for basically nothing. And it's a super easy round to fire. So because it's so small, you can fit a lot of rounds like on your person to take with you. So this takes a rotary mag, which holds 10 rounds. But you can have a bunch of those magazines with you and carry a good amount of ammunition for not a lot of weight. And that's something that you're going to want to think about, because when you're traveling, you're going to need to carry a little bit of ammunition with you, but you don't want it weighing you down. And you also want to be able to conceal it. The rotary mags for these are very small, and they're easy to tuck in a pocket and just kind of carry with you. Along with that, because it's a 22 and it has almost no recoil, anybody can shoot this rifle. And with the addition of a scope, you can be extremely accurate out to 50 yards. Me and my fiance shoot pretty regularly with this rifle, and even at 50 yards, she can hit a grouping about the size of a quarter, which is, I think, pretty good. So, like I said, even first-time shooters will love the 22. There's virtually no recoil, and they're just very versatile. The 22 is not a huge round in the fact that you're not going to be taking down large game with it, or it doesn't really have a lot of penetrating power. You're not going to be shooting through thick things like car doors and stuff. But at the end of the day, even though this round is very small, it is a round that can do some damage. You can definitely injure or kill somebody with this round. Because it's small doesn't mean it's not lethal. And there's a lot that you can do with this Ruger 1022 platform. And again, I'm just saying the Ruger 1022 because that's what I have. Here's an example of what you can do with that platform. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but it says Ruger right there, because the guts of one of these 1022 rifles is actually in this Hightower Armory shell. So you can convert something like this into something like this. Personally, in a survival situation, I would keep it in this platform just because it's better set up for shooting targets far away. But if you wanted to defend your home and cut down the size of the 1022, you could go to something like this. But overall, I would say whether it's a bolt action or a semi-automatic, a 22 rifle is a very good thing to have in your setup for a survival situation, because the ammo is super cheap. You can get a lot of it, you can carry a lot of it, and there's almost no recoil. And it doesn't look like an AR-15, so people aren't as afraid of it or drawn to it. It doesn't draw as much attention. So at number 2, I have a pistol, just a pistol in general. And the reasoning behind that is concealability. So again, I've talked about it multiple times, so I feel like I need to drive this home. One of the biggest things that you want to be able to do in a survival situation is defend yourself, but not attract attention to yourself. Because don't forget, there's always going to be somebody out there that has more friends or a bigger group, or a better rifle, being able to get you from farther away. So I think the major benefit to a pistol is concealability. So I have 2 pistols in front of me. This is a Springfield XD45, which shoots a 45 ACP, and then also a Smith & Wesson M&P 9, which shoots a 9mm. They're both examples of full-size pistols. So this is something that it's kind of a personal choice. You may want to go over what you're comfortable with. The reason why I own 2 full-frame pistols is because we are not allowed to conceal in the state that I'm in. But as far as a survival situation, rules aren't going to matter anyway. But I like to have them all the time, so mine are both full-size. But something you may want to consider is a smaller pistol that's a little more concealable. That way you could tuck it in your waistband. Nobody knows you have it. So again, you can defend yourself without showing it off and drawing attention to yourself. A decision that you're going to want to make is 9mm over 45. and they're both awesome rounds. The 9mm is a little bit smaller. You can probably carry more rounds with you, but a 45 typically has a little bit more knockdown power. Again, they've gone back and forth on these rounds about which one is better. The military uses a 9mm, so that kind of tells you that maybe the 9mm is the better route to go sometimes. I personally just like 45 because it has a little more kick, and I think it's fun to shoot. But as far as a survival situation, 9mm is very prevalent in the United States. You're going to find a lot of it. If you were to pick some up off of somebody that is, no longer alive, they're probably going to have 9mm. So that's something to think about. But 9mm and 45 are both good choices. Again, you just want to go through, do you go with a smaller pistol that is easily concealable, or do you go with a larger pistol that is easier to hold in your hands, and then you have a longer barrel for better accuracy farther out? And I also recommend getting a pistol that has a flashlight rail, so you can use a flashlight at night. This also has fiber optic sights, which are nice, which help in low light situations. So just a couple things that you want to think about. Realistically, with a pistol, you want to go to a range, fire a couple different ones, and see which one you're the most comfortable firing, and make a decision on the caliber that you want to use as well. But like I said, number 2, because it's concealability, and you can take it pretty much anywhere with you without anyone knowing. So finally, at number 1, and again, I know a lot of people are going to go back and forth, and maybe you don't feel the same way that I do as far as this decision, but my number 1 is a shotgun. And the reason for this is just versatility, straight up. The shotgun is probably the most versatile firearm that you could buy. In this case, I have 3 different rounds. This is birdshot or target load, which has these tiny little pellets. As you can see, there's a ton of them in there. So you can hunt small game with this, including rabbits, squirrels, birds, stuff of that nature, so it's good for food. You have a rifled slug, which is better for long range. These slugs are very dangerous. They go through pretty much anything. Even though they're slow moving, this is a 1-ounce slug, so it's a big slug. Really good for penetrating. If you had a scope on the shotgun, you could shoot pretty far with one of these rifled slugs if you had the scope zeroed, so you can also shoot longer distance. I mean, you're not going to be shooting 300 yards with this typically. Usually about 75 yards is pretty good with one of those rifled slugs. And then also buckshot. And buckshot is great because you can hunt big game with it, and it also is extremely good at taking bigger targets down at a close range. So this would be really good for home defense, hunting, like I said, shooting longer range. And that's the big thing about a shotgun, is it's super versatile. So even though something like an AR, you could fire a lot more rounds quickly. Same thing with the semi-automatic 22. To me, this is just the best weapon to have because it's so versatile. You can do so much with them. And the fact that the shotgun shells are pretty cheap. These target loads or birdshot you can get for very cheap. Usually you can get about 25 rounds of this for like anywhere between 10 to 15 bucks. The buckshot is a little bit expensive, and so are the rifled slugs, but you wouldn't be shooting a lot of them anyway. Also, these are not that heavy, and they're easy to carry. You can get a piece like this that will hold your rounds, and you could hold 4 or 5 here. You can hold 5 or 6 in the tube, depending on if you have one in the chamber. And then they also make belts like this where you can carry extra shells as well. So I think the shotgun just has to be number 1 based on its versatility and its ability to do so many different jobs. Also, in a survival situation, I know this, again, might be taboo, but I think a pump shotgun would be a better choice because you can use crappier ammo and still be able to cycle it. So one of the things with the higher performance semi-automatic shotguns where you can fire off multiple rounds very quickly, if you have cheaper shotgun shells, sometimes they don't cycle all the way, and you won't eject the shell properly, which could cause the shotgun to jam. So I think if my life depended on it and I wanted straight up reliability and versatility, a pump shotgun would be my number one choice if I had to pick only one thing, just because I think it can do so many jobs. Also, with this shotgun, you can change out the barrel very easily. So this is a short barrel version because it's home defense. So if I wanted to do a little bit of hunting, which again, I know this isn't the ideal setup for hunting, but I could change to a longer barrel to increase my chances of hitting something farther away. So again, this is my choice for number one. If you guys feel differently, please drop it down below in the comments. I'm really interested to see what everybody thinks. Of course, everybody's entitled to their opinion. This is just my list. Really like doing this video, showing you guys the different weapons that we have and my reasoning. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I'd be more than happy to answer anything that you guys have. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.